Hello?
Hi, Sally.
Hi.
It's Louise here from Someone Like Me. Is it a good time to talk?
To be honest, I'm feeling really, really confused. I just keep thinking about how I'll feel beyond surgery. I'm sorry, I'm getting quite emotional.
Oh, bless you. Take your time. Just take your time.
Thank you. At the moment, I just want the breast gone because I can't imagine how I'll live with it. But obviously, they're telling me that I can keep my breast. Can you tell me something about what you decided to do?
My name's Steph. I work in the Someone Like Me team for the Breast Cancer Now charity. My role is to match people who've had a breast cancer diagnosis or having treatment with volunteers who've had a similar experience. The process is someone may ring us. Are they wanting sort of practical support? Would they like emotional support? I will then put in that information into, we have like a computer system, and then see which volunteers come up. And then we arrange a time for the volunteer to call the person using the service.
آفت جان بیماران مبتلا به سرطان پستان سکوت است. سرطانی که قابلیت کنترل و حتی درمان دارد و بزرگترین مانع برای درمانش در خفا نگه داشتن بیماری است. وحشت از به زبان آوردن نام اندامهای زنانه عنوان بیماری را گاه از سرطان پستان به سرطان سینه تغییر داده. درباره سرطان پستان باید حرف زد. حریف را به نام درستش باید خواند.
Before I became a Someone Like Me counsellor, I've got quite a few friends who've gone through it as well. Naturally, you're going to text them, WhatsApp them and say, do you want to chat about it? I'm here. Yeah, and someone did that for me as well. So I'm Gillian. 4 years ago in December, I presented with a lump to the doctor. So on that very first day, they said, we don't like what we're seeing. Next time you come, you're going to meet your surgeon. And I was on my own and I was really tearful and I was really angry that they said it without anybody else being there. She said, oh, your lymph's inflamed. And I thought, oh, that's not good. And when she then said, so it brings back the memories, doesn't it? When she said, next time you come, you'll meet your surgeon. I was like, but there's no one with me. Why are you telling me today? You don't know exactly. We all think we're invincible, and I think we all think it'll never happen to you. You know, no one wants to hear those words, do they?
I went all over Christmas and New Year not knowing whether I was negative or positive. And then I went in on the 3rd of January on my own again, and that's when they told me they found cancer. My name's Louise. Around October 2019, I had a lump that I'd had for a long time, but I suddenly realised it was slightly different. Now, I've sadly known other friends that have had breast cancer. Majority of them are still with us, but some of them aren't. And until I was diagnosed, I couldn't really empathise with them. But when you talk to somebody like friends that have been through it, or someone like me, they just know. They just know what you're talking about, or I know what they're feeling, and it just makes you feel not alone.
Breast Cancer Now یا اکنون سرطان پستان یکی از سازمان‌های پیشرو در زمینه خدمات رسانی به بیماران مبتلا به سرطان پستان در انگلستان است.
We are the UK's biggest breast cancer charity. So we do a number of things, but mainly research and support. So there's better treatments, kinder treatments, and for one day, hopefully by 2050, no one will die from breast cancer.
یکی از پروژه‌های این سازمان برای حمایت از بیمار مبتلا به سرطان، پروژه‌ای است به نام یک نفر شبیه به من.
My name's Tom and my job is the Service Development Manager for the Someone Like Me service. I work for the charity for about 10 years now and I live here in Sheffield, which is where our office is. So the Someone Like Me service actually started all the way back in the 70s, founded by a woman called Betty Westgate, and she started supporting people from her own living room. One woman who just try to reach out to others in her own position. All she was trying to do was support people who were in a similar position to her. From Betty in 1973, Christmas Eve, from just some few conversations about having surgery, this whole charity has grown.
هر کس در بریتانیا می تواند با این مؤسسه تماس بگیرد، درخواست کمک کند و یا در صورت داشتن تجربه سرطان پستان و پایان مراحل درمانی به عنوان داوطلب در سیستم نام‌نویسی کند. شعار پروژه یک نفر شبیه به من این است: هیچ کس نباید به تنهایی با سرطان روبرو شود.
You can have this phone call with someone where you can just be yourself. You don't have to worry about the volunteers' feelings. They've been there, they know what you're going through.
Someone Like Me is all about support from someone who's been in a similar position, who fully understands what it's like.
I think I was just struggling and I needed to talk to somebody. Because I went through it in the pandemic, I'm divorced, so I live here on my own. No one was allowed in the house because I was shielded and we had all of those rules. I remember talking to Tom on the phone. I just wanted to talk to somebody that had gone through what I'd gone through, but on their own. So he did match me with a lady. And I remember just talking about how I was feeling and her just saying, yep, that's how I felt. It was just somebody not agreeing with every word that I said, but actually just understanding those feelings and emotions and concerns and everything that I had. And we didn't talk again. But I think for me, that served the purpose.
To try and think that that person's in the room with you, even though you can't see them. Kind of imagine where they might be in the country and sat in their own house listening.
When I spoke to the lady, she was actually in Scotland because she had a Scottish accent, but we could still relate to one another, so it's almost like it didn't matter where she was. And from that moment, I also knew that I wanted to be a volunteer because that one conversation, I just found it so invaluable.
For certain diagnoses, some of the rarer ones, such as triple negative breast cancer, people can often hear very negative stories. When I had someone ringing about triple negative breast cancer, and when I said we had volunteers who were over 10 years, and just the phone going silent for quite a while, and it was, she just needed time to take that in because she didn't even believe that was possible.
It's sometimes okay not to be okay. So I might appear to be tough, but I've had some very, very dark moments, very, very dark moments. Sitting there in the middle of the night, and you'll understand that as well when you feel absolutely rubbish. But I think it's not forever. It is for that short, well, a period of time. It's the empathy. I hear in their voices they want to know that they're not alone. And also, you don't lie to people. You don't say everything's going to be all right because you don't know that. They just want to hear the truth. They don't want it fluffed up. So I think it's just about the honesty. Just yeah.
حدود 250 داوطلب با پروژه یک نفر شبیه به من همکاری می‌کنند. بیشتر اعضای مؤسسه اکنون سرطان پستان تجربه شخصی از مبارزه با این نوع بیماری دارند.
I had a breast cancer diagnosis in 2016. I also feel a personal connection, I suppose, to the service. I know I remember a young woman on the chemo ward who was a few sort of cycles after me, and I remember her at the beginning looking all fresh, and she was using the cold cap, which I didn't do, but I remember a few cycles into it looking at her and she looked so tired, her face had changed. And then you think of yourself, actually, yeah, people must see that.
I do have some personal connection, but it wasn't why I joined the charity. So it was probably 4 or 5 years after I started working here that my mum was diagnosed with breast cancer.
آنچه دو بیمار را به هم مرتبط می‌کند، شباهت میان آنهاست. بزرگترین تفاوت میان این دو نفر زمان است. یک نفر از گذشته تقاضای کمک می‌کند و یک نفر شبیه به او از آینده پاسخ می‌دهد. دلگرمی که تنها زمان است که اهمیت دارد و زمان می‌گذرد.
You forget actually quite a lot. So even after the mastectomy, within, I think it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 days, I was out and about watching my son's hockey. you forget some of it. But it's natural, isn't it? To forget the bad bits.
For me, this is part of my healing process. Most emotional times on the calls is when someone tells me that they've had a clear response. So when they've told me that they've had their results, because I know how I felt when I had that as well. People think you finish your treatment and you are okay, and that's it. Louise is back. It's not just about having had breast cancer, or it's also about dealing with it afterwards. And it's not something you can just put in a box and forget about it, because you can't.
I think time makes a big difference. I find I don't worry so much about things that I don't have control of.
I think it's just you look at things differently. I think you treasure things differently. Sometimes when I'm out here and it is raining, just the sound of the rain on the roof.
Maybe roses. I love roses.
Thinking you might die has made me enjoy life more.
Two things that keep me going is walking and dancing.
Just being kind to yourself, that it's okay, you don't have to be strong all the time.
It's actually really difficult to always accept the help because you're not used to it.
And there's lots of support out there, but sometimes you have to find it. Don't be on your own. You don't have to be on your own.
Hello?
Hi, Sally, it's Louise.
Hello!
I haven't tried to ring you for a little while because I wasn't sure whether to or not.
So I'm training to be a wellbeing coach. I feel I'm in a really positive place, which is fantastic, and like I have to say, largely down to you, Louise.
Oh, bless.
Honestly, our conversation's just absolutely...
Now you're going to make me cry.